I would like to apologize for the abrupt end of the Political Musings Part 2 video. I'm going to continue it, as this will be Political Musings Part 2 continued. And I was just finishing my commentary on the swirlers, particularly emphasis on the divestment women, and really what their rhetoric is toward, generally speaking, that is, toward all black men. And so I think that in my conclusion, I think they will find eventually, but I believe sooner than later, and it's guaranteed, that it will be white women who will show the resolve to put at least some control, if not a total break, in their trying to take white men from them, because that's really what it is, really. It hasn't been said, but I believe that's part of the program as well. And of course, I've also heard the charge of these divestment women just merely looking for someone to manipulate, since they can't manipulate some black men anymore. I'm not saying I agree with that, nor that it's even true, but I do know that's been said quite often. So they have that to contend with, the belief of that is true anyway, through those who have said it publicly on their platforms. And also just the fact that you, as a person born of African descent, and I consider all blacks Africans, the difference being some were born in America, some were born in South America, the Caribbean, some were born in Europe, Western Eastern Europe, and some were born in Africa. But we all come from the same source historically, and I cannot sectionalize or short circuit my identity by claiming a place that doesn't belong to me, my race, and it's been used to subjugate Africans historically, at least in the American context. So I call us Africans, period. There's no hyphen to it, as far as I'm concerned. I think that when we call ourselves that, we tend to allow the limits that white supremacy strategically places on our people. Then you become an R-numbered minority. But I believe we're a global people, first and foremost. Obviously, yes, because we're global, we're not all in one spot. It's a legacy of the triangular trade of Western Europe. But no less does that make me not an African and a brother to all of our people, no matter how long we've been in this particular place under subjugation of another race, by and large, with some modifications, some liberal modifications. But that's just to forestall nationalist movements and or revolution. It's never been meant to empower you or to give you equal status. And I would like those who have trouble understand this, that in the system of white supremacy under capitalism that gives the racist the wherewithal to practice racism on a daily basis, there's no power sharing. It is a fact that in this system, their interest knows not only no compromise, but no other interest beyond its own. So if you don't remember anything else about this system, remember that in terms of our position in it. And that the only way it can possibly change is to take power ourselves and set up our own systems of government, institutions, political institutions. And it has to rival the same level of power they have now. And for that to happen, Africa has got to be a part of it. You cannot do it without Africa or other international allies. So this kind of micro-nationalist type of, I'm just only going to depend on the institutions in America, it's not going to work. At best, those who are most subservient to it and give the most results for its interests are the ones that you're going to see as your leaders. But nothing will change. The quality will not change in terms of our status. And even if it did, it's not our land anyway. This belongs to the Native Americans. Let that be clear. I don't care how long blacks were here, Africans, prior, during, and after. This is the Native American. It's their land. And that can be proven. So there's no debate in terms of who was here first, whose land. This does not belong to black people over here. We know historically things had to be adapted. There had to be some adaptations made just so we could have some semblance of survival here. And we understand that's only because there was still use for us at that particular time. But there's no power sharing here. Don't expect these people to share power with you, because that's not in the principle of the very system that you exist in. You have to understand the principles that underlie capitalism and racism is exploitation. That's at its base, its very nature. There's no two ways about it. And the history is explicitly clear on that. I don't understand why people still think they can debate being ignorant of the facts, historical facts. So we're Africans. See, so the identity question for me is solved. There's no debate. There's no tug and pull in terms of clarity, crystal clear. And I would hope those who having trouble understanding that would gain some clarity, because they're not clear. If you call yourselves African/Americans, you're still not clear on your identity. We know that was a shift from Negro or black. Moving in the right direction, mind you, but some of us have made that necessary leap, necessary ideological leap. We're not niggers. Any of those other terms that found this embryonic existence in the mindsets historically of white folks that a lot of us have taken on. So no one call me, if I ever should be in a conversation or a debate with anybody who listens to this video, I am not a nigger, and neither are you. Don't call me that. I'm an African, period. So are you. Whether you like it or not, African blood flows through your veins. You are what your origin is. Not some point after you're on this earth where your ancestors were taken. Doesn't start there. Your history doesn't start there. Many of us understand that. They call yourself who you are. If you never go back to Africa, it's not the point. Or you never want to go back to Africa. It's in the blood. That's what makes you African. So you have to understand that. So I have no question in terms of identity. I don't need to be on no identity forum or anything. I don't need to be in the audience or listening to one. I'll be on the panel, but I need to know nothing more. We're Africans. So let me digress. Getting back to the swirlers though, and even the brothers, the black men, to a certain extent, you're going to be shown the folly of your choices too. Yes, everybody who wants to make that choice as an adult can do so, but you do so at your own peril. You control not one political institution, not one economic market, no industry, no development that comes primarily from the will of your own thinking and planning. See, the best blacks can do in this particular country is, well, the term is being at the table, meaning that sitting there really at a table, sitting lower than anybody else, waiting for scraps to fall off. That's really what that means to me. Yet, the time is going to come. You've got to build your own table. You can't be in the system. It's got to be in a system you own. They own capitalism. And there's no compromise in power sharing. No matter how radical the reform, those principles that underlie the maintenance of this particular system and going back to its beginning are fixed. Which is really why I look at swirling and it's just, some of it's funny because they really think they're going to qualitatively change their lives by, I guess at some points, some of you will fall in love and marry these people. Only because of the way the range of behaviors that this ideology in this particular system calls for. See, it's even beyond the will of the white folks as well. It's just that this particular system obviously caters to their needs long before anyone else's. That's the problem. So if you look at the system itself, its underlying principles, if they were green, it would be the same problem. Do you understand? So it even really goes beyond their will as individuals, as white in and of themselves. When you look at it systematically. But it fits because it's in their total interest to maintain it. And a necessary condition of this particular system and its principles is to have people on the bottom serving it. Historically, that's what blacks have been. You cannot get out of it unless you transform the very society that you exercise your toil in. But most of you Africans are not prepared for that. And to that, I will go into a subsequent video concerning that issue, which is why I think the swirling thing is bound to fail. That it has a finite life in terms of its popularity. That at some point, some of you swirlers, those who listen to this video and my last one, concerning this particular topic, will be ran out of the white community. I think they'll probably be nice. Someone will be nice to ask you to leave. Others are going to run you out at gunpoint. So you think you're doing something, and you divestment sisters. Look, you're not pissing anybody off. Nobody's mad because white men are going up inside you. That's not the case. In fact, many of these cats out here on YouTube, I mean, based on what I'm hearing from them, and they haven't said these particular words, but the sentiment seems to be better the white boy than them. So they're not upset. They just want you to stop talking about, and I do too, want you to stop talking about black men as demons. If you can leave that out of it, I think we can have some coexistence around here. And I'm sure some of them brothers who come out specifically, that have challenged specifically to counter your talking points, those men, those black men, those African men born in America, you probably wouldn't give them a reason to have a channel, or they would change the topics of the channel. You women give them content. That's neither, that's for them to decide, but you do. You give them their content with your consistent, erroneous analysis, deliberate dishonesty, and you're really misleading white people to believe things that are just not even true. So that's in a way, well, you can say that's a form of manipulation to the dominant society. That's why I just don't know what your true point is. You actually think they're going to fall for that, even if you sincerely believe it. You're not going to have the influence on white men that you think you can have. Just demonizing black men. It's impossible. So, as I said earlier, it's finite at best. And when they're done with you all doing what they're going to do, you'll be discarded. It may be a few of you that are hangers on, but a lot of you won't make it. This is not a lifetime decision that they're making. They're just having fun for now. And when that's over, they'll go right back to the white woman. And the white women are going to see to it one way or the other. Not because I say so, not because I want it to be so. But again, based on my observations, I can deduce that that's what's going to happen. So it's an objective look at it as far as I'm concerned. Because again, as I said in the last video, I lose no sleep. I sleep very soundly. I love African people. And whether they're born here or outside the U.S. So in terms of who I am, that's who you're supposed to be. Has nothing to do with any kind of political label. Whether you're Mexican, Chinese, Arab, European, you're supposed to love your people. And all these little categories, subcategories that many of you are putting yourself into really has the effect of keeping our people disunified. What white supremacists know and understand, they understand your history better than most of you, that we're a people that have always worked the needs of the one is the need of all. So we've always worked together. This individualism came within the contact of Europeans, but if they can keep you disunified, divestment, SYBM, MGTOW, Manosphere, that's exactly what's needed in the end to perpetuate their continued domination. And then it's a bonus because they continue to manipulate at will in really different instruments of control these different particular groups, Democratic, Republican. It works in their favor. So if you're somebody who doesn't understand white supremacy the way it works, or some of its components of it, and how it's used, this unity of our people to perpetuate the problems for their interests, you're getting a lesson in YouTube, albeit a small one, a microcosm, mind you. But you see these different groups that Black people, African people in America have formed on YouTube. All of this perpetuates this unity. We can't get anything done. However, no one has ever had 100% consensus of anything to get things done. When you have these little subgroups that even cut the unity in more parts, you become a fundamentally weak people in terms of doing anything for yourselves as a race. And that's the problem. When you're a subject in the system that someone controls and have used to subjugate you, and more subtle instruments have been used to perpetuate that, it makes you fundamentally a very, well, let me put it this way, your existence on this earth is very tenuous and malleable for those who control those instruments, those subtle instruments, whether it's political, social, economic, and all the range of behaviors thereof that's commensurate to those three areas of society. Where you control those instruments, that's a consistent framework of power. See, they can have that power. Meanwhile, everybody's calling each other names, having these parallel arguments about the roles of men and women, and it changes nothing. Those things can only be changed. Those questions that are asked in and between these particular groups, and I'm just talking about the YouTube groups now, can really only be answered if you have a structure that you can make changes in that emanate from the will, your political, social, and economic will. That means you have to have complete independence and sovereignty, that you answer to no one, like they do. Until you can rival that kind of power, and I know most of you are not interested in that, you think you can somehow get some sort of co-equal status by them staying in control of those areas that are consequential to power. I mean, it's almost like a waste of time. But some of you really believe that, though, because you haven't gotten to the political maturity yet to understand where power really emanates from and how it is created. It's not created just by being a millionaire or billionaire, because these people in the Black community, the African community in the United States that were born here, who happen to be fortunate enough to have the opportunity to become wealthy, they don't have any power either. They have a higher level of existence, which I'm sure any of us, including me, would take if it was offered to me. Don't get me wrong. Although I wouldn't take it with any political strings, though. So they probably wouldn't give it to me. But I know a lot of you would, because it would be a substantial change in your lifestyle. But the fact of the matter is, people should know those particular people who are celebrities, who are known and unknown, who are worth millions and billions of dollars in assets. If they say one thing on the line to the contrary, or if they should tell the truth, if they should know. I guarantee you, within a year, they wouldn't have that wealth anymore. They may not be destitute. So they understand it. That means you have no power if you can't tell the truth. We know what's been going on with Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, some of these other people who are now just being explicitly coons. I'm running afar of what I'm trying to say here about the swervers, but I'm trying to see those things can't reach true fruition unless you control the society, like they do. That's how they can get things done. They control everything. Control the markets, everything, industry, all the ancillary elements, the antecedents thereof. So they in fact have a monopoly. The Africa is sitting there for us to develop, to help people at home get to the point where we can develop it for ourselves. We act like we don't want to be part of it. Some of you anyway. You fall for these false ideologies, with these, let me correct myself, these issues that are presented to you as if you follow them, then there's some sort of reward at the end. And there's not, because it's contrary to the very principles that underlie the system that you're in. This is something I want to get into in another video, but I have to at least give you a little bit of understanding, because it approaches reasoning why we've only went so far. Here we are years later, the same issues. Because you're in a capitalist system, which you don't control. And the nature of it is to exploit. You have to understand that. That's why it can exist with the contradiction of poor whites, even though it's built for white folks. But that's one of the more glaring, even more glaring contradiction. We know why they want us to have nothing. I mean, we're the rivals, the power. So we can't have anything in this system. They understand that clearly. They have to control and co-opt things. But you even have Europeans, white folks. Yes, they've stole it, we know that, and so do they. But the fact that they have it, but you have all these white people in power. That's the glaring contradiction within a racist system. Because it represents the very race of the people who are poor. How can they be poor then? And they can't solve that conundrum. That's the most glaring contradiction with this system. The very people who they're supposed to serve, they can't. The poor whites. And it's always been through the development of capitalism from its inception to the setting up, establishment of the United States after the American Revolution in terms of the U.S. Constitution. Even Articles of Confederation, we can go back as far as to talk about that. You've always had poor whites. With all the resources and opportunities available for white people. And these are people who are not on drugs, who are not foolish. I'm sure some of them are very hardworking white folks. Honest as they can be. It's a contradiction. That's the most glaring contradiction to me. They can't even do it for all of its people, like it was built to do. That's based on the very nature of it. That's at the base of this problem. However, it's perpetuated more toward us because we're the rivals for power. That's why it's such a concentration, a limitation on people of African descent globally. You have industrial setups that are headquartered in the Western Hemisphere, but the branches of it or in places like Africa, siphoning resources. I digress. Let me just say, I'll get on to another subject matter, but you swirlers, you divestment ladies, I'm not saying any of this to convince you otherwise. True believer that adults could very well or theoretically do anything they want to do, but they should understand the consequences of their actions, good and bad consequences. I think you do what you do at your peril, but you will find out in short order such a dreadful move it was. And particularly those you ladies in that divestment community. You think you're doing something smart by demonizing black men. And I can tell you right now, I don't think we can be demonized falsely any more than we already have from white people. And so white supremacy, no, whites don't need any help from you. Not that that's going to stop you from running your mouths, but that's just the truth of the matter. They don't need any help from you. They're quite capable of insulting black men and perpetuating falsehoods. Thank you very much. So, I mean, to parrot racist talking points or regurgitate them to make them look like they've come specifically and primarily from you really is further evidence of your dishonesty. I mean, you're copying people who have already said these things. So what makes you think you're making them making it sound any more damaging? Why? Because you're saying it as a black woman, racially? No, you're just being used as an arm of white supremacy, whether you like it or not. And I'm telling you, that's not to get you to stop, because I know it won't. I'm not trying to do that. But I have to attest to the truth of the matter, whether you like it or not. I'll tell you truthfully my observation and my deductions in terms of my listening and observing. So, definitely what you're doing has a finite life to it. Now, I'd like to change gears a bit here. A little more than 33 minutes into the Political Musings Part 2. This is really the first time that I've extended this particular series. Normally, like you've all probably seen the first, the inaugural Political Musings video, heard. So now there's a part 2 to part 2 here. So, but I like to thank some content creators that are allowing me to do collaborations with them, YouTube friends that I'm sure that I could probably, well, I know for a fact, I'm sure I could be friends with in real life if we ever met. And they are Deacons of Defense, DC the Purple Diva, Kinks and Curls, Upper Unicorn, Bayou Bunny, Brother Red Supreme, O'Shea Duke Jackson, who comes from the same city I come from, Dinus Demir, the African Superstar, More Eats, sister from the Mukbang channel, Kiz's Corner, who also gave me a opportunity to speak on her platform. Um, and there's some others that Information Man, that brother there. Um, uh, yeah, uh, in terms of those content creators that I've had a chance to speak to and get to know, I appreciate you all. Uh, I tried to go live once a couple of weeks ago. Somehow my mic would not work. I appreciate those who came over at that particular time. You know who you are. Oh, let me also say Rainy Woman as well. I put her in there. I appreciate you, sis. And having trouble with my laptop. So I'm just on my Android right now. And I have to work on this thing. I may have to put it in the shop or maybe get another one. So I won't be going live because I can't go live on this device, my Android, at this time. But of course, I was using StreamYard over there with my laptop that time. But I will, as soon as I can, I will go live. And those who I mentioned just now and some others I haven't mentioned that I can't think of right now, and I apologize because I can't think of, will all be modded on my channel. All of you. I value your friendship. A lot of you are funny to me, hilarious, very, very entertaining. And I do appreciate that when I have the time to listen to you, because a lot of times I'm at work when I listen to you. You guys just don't know that, but you know it now. But I do appreciate. It really makes my nights go very, very fast, and I have 10-hour evenings. And so, but it's very, very. You all are very informative, and I certainly understand now the situation that's been ensuing on YouTube. I'm not gonna say any names. I think people kind of know what I'm talking about. These two YouTubers that have garnered a growing amount of hate toward them through a lot of other people that has come out lately. I think we all know who they are, and those people that whose lives they've touched on YouTube. Some things I really wasn't privy to. I had partial knowledge of some things. I certainly knew about those two and a couple of YouTubers that I deal with on a regular basis, but others I really didn't know. I have to say, I apologize for not knowing, but I caught up on what the facts were, and I've made my position known on one YouTuber in terms of her position, and the fact that I'm in favor of her version of the facts because they're all true. And so certainly though, as this collective hate about these particular two YouTubers starting to reach exponential numbers now. I mean, it's interesting. You know, it's now I'm wondering what next. What's their next move? You know what I mean? Because now some people that dislike them, and I'm just finding out. I don't know if these people who are on them now are new to YouTube or been around a long time. I just didn't know, but I'm beginning to find out some more things because I never followed those two. Although I was at the females couple of lives early on because she had a series. It was a series sleeper cell series, which I still think that's dope though. I really appreciate that, but of course I heard some things I didn't like, and so early on, maybe 2 live streams maybe worth. And at that point, I'm like, oh no, it's not for me. My political understanding is, I know for a fact it's well beyond some of the things that they talk about. And so they can teach me nothing politically, but, uh, you know, everyone's at different levels anyway. But I just didn't like all the arguing and cussing and from the guy, cussing people out, that, the attacks on men, calling them certain names, names that I don't think he would do in real life, in person. You know what I mean? I mean, it just total insults. I didn't like that kind of vulgarity, and it was just uncalled for, and it was just unseemly, and it just put a bad taste in my mouth early on. Because every time, the times I went over there, the guy was always piping up, man. I'm like, you know what I mean? And it was just, to me, it was like hijacking the whole live stream to me, as far as I was concerned. Oh, that's what I felt. I'm like, okay. So the fact that I had not paid them really no attention specifically, but hearing things from other folks and seeing their versions of what they were dealing with, it kind of got me just thinking, wow, man, maybe I understood that from the beginning, and which reason why I stopped going back over there after like the second live stream that I discovered. And I discovered them around this time, I guess last year. Might have been earlier than last year. It might have been around February and March. But I didn't know anything else. I didn't know other things that were going on that I now know. Seemed like there's like 4 or 5 different, and I'm sure I don't know them all. It could be more. I know at least 5 different situations that they're in the center of. They're connected to all of them, either directly or indirectly. You know what I mean? Oh, wow, I've never seen that before. That's a phenomenon to me. So, and then this one sister on YouTube, what she was dealing with personally, I didn't understand all of that. A little bit of it, I didn't understand the whole. Now I got the chance to see, and then other people who I didn't even follow, that had to at least go and see a couple of their video, or a few of their videos, to catch up on what I did not know. I'm like, oh man. So this seems to me that these particular people are in the middle of everything. I can say that. Maybe to not the total extent, but they're involved in it. All these folks that have, either they dislike them or they just let them go and don't, or they're not their subscriber, don't go to their channel, I'm sure. Because I think at one time they all were. And they're not now. So that's very, very telling. But if you listen to the principal, listen to their videos, unless you knew that, by listening to them, you wouldn't know that all these people just like them now, for whatever their reasons are. I don't have any history of talking to them. They don't know me and they don't want to know me. I really don't want to know them. But based on what I've seen, man, it's a serious, they're growing, these people have a growing dislike for these two. I don't know where it's going to end. I think that it lends to this general perception in the black section of YouTube, because it seems like there's a verbal sparring, combating going all over black YouTube. And I haven't seen the total black YouTube, but I've heard. And this example that I just pointed out, generally here, is a example of what is going on in black YouTube at large. I think at some point, some people are going to start getting visits at some point. Some people are going to get doors knocked on. It's going to be, I think this can definitely lead to injury and or worse. I hope it doesn't get to that point. It shouldn't be that serious. You know, I mean, we're located all over the United States, all over the world. Some of us will never physically ever meet each other. And it's just not that serious to get to the point to where we take it that personally. I mean, you know, when I was just strictly in the comment sections of YouTube when I first got on here, had a channel, I just didn't fire it up. I was on here in 2007 when it started, around August 2007. And I was just in the comment section. And back then, until about 2013, 14, you had a lot of these racist white boys before Stormfront and all these other white supremacist Reddit, before all that was created. They were at YouTube, and they would always come in the black channels and say something in the comment section. And I used to ask them, but I never got. I used to ask them this, but I never got a response. What are you gonna do? Send your racist skin through cyberspace to come and get me? That was before doxing and all these other things that can go on now, mind you. And it was just kind of funny to me. They would talk all this stuff like they're gonna see me at the door. I would tell them what city I was in and come see me. You know, you come to the city and you put in the comment section where you are. I will see you. None of them ever did. You know what I mean? Because I mean, they were just coming in there and calling us names and putting false information in there. We were just getting tired of it, but we would actually, me and others at that time, but I don't even know if these others are still on YouTube anymore. But man, we used to actively just chase them out of comment section. I mean, we should run there. They got to the point they got tired of all the facts about them that we put out there, and we hurt their feelings so much they would just stop. They just couldn't win. But it went from that to now black people getting so heated on YouTube that they want to, insult each other and then, threaten to come see a person. Now, this thing should never get that serious to where somebody has to do that. Or even talk like they are, even if they don't really mean it. They shouldn't even sound like they're going to do that. No. You know what I mean? Not between black people. Or Africans in America. That perpetuates the problem and helps their cause. So all you people who are supposed to be pro this or pro that, that's what indeed you are, then stop insulting your brother or your sister. Stop calling them F-boys. Stop calling them little niggers and all this kind of stuff. Stop throwing insults into everything, man. I mean, what you guys trying to do, man? You try to hurt each other's feelings every single day you're on this thing. I mean, it's just preposterous. You say something to some black person you don't like, then you throw a little insult in there. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the part that could piss a person off is not what you say. It's why you said it. Was that even necessary? You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to embarrass somebody and make them ashamed of who they are or a body part. I mean, again, I'm not gonna say any names. I heard a YouTuber call this one guy a little leg nigga. The guy know he's small. He ain't got no thighs. I mean, what's I supposed to do? Embarrass him in front of women? Man, come on. He is what he is. If he's a little guy, you know what I mean? What he said is if that's something to laugh at. I mean, I couldn't understand that. A little leg nigga. Quote. Unquote. You know what I mean? And the other guy calling people little niggas, end quote. I mean, because somebody not tall? I mean, so that means that really you're talking about their parents then. Because they're born from people that may not have been tall. You know what I mean? As if that's something to be ashamed of. Man, it's genetics. It's the way it is. Nobody should be ashamed because they're a certain height or not. But this one guy wanted to use that against him. It's ridiculous, man. I don't see him calling white people a little white boy. You know, that's got to stop too, man. This constant, I would throw an insult here and there, or every 10 words, it's got to be an insult to the person I don't like. Man, stop it. Because to me, unless any of you brothers who talking this crazy stuff can jump in the ring with each other, I don't respect none of you for just talking stuff. If you're really down, set up a ring match somewhere in somebody's city and raise money for charity. Y'all can beat each other's ass, raise some money for a good cause, and not go to jail for it. Because if you meet in the street, we all know you're going to jail for it. I don't think that's worth it, man. I mean, I can't get so mad at somebody on YouTube, a black person, that I want to just visit them. But I'm always down for a boxing match. So any future arguments, make sure you understand that. I'm definitely down with some 8-ounce gloves now. But I'm not gonna do it for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'd rather do that. If I'm gonna be now, I probably won't be that angry at somebody. But if I ever do, that's the most it's gonna get, man. I'm not gonna sit there and lock and load and come to somebody's city. Got to pay money to take a plane, and you might not get out. If you do something to somebody, what makes you think you're gonna get on a plane and come back without getting arrested? I mean, that's dumb, man. So you cats that want to go visit people, think about that, man. Cops in their city is just as crazy as cops in your city. And most of them are white boys. Let's face it, man. So if y'all down, get in the ring, man. Do it right. You know, you can get it in and probably be friends afterwards. That's normally how we do it, right? To all the brothers. We might like each other at first, but after we fight, you know, we boys after that. Can't nobody mess with either one of us. You know what I mean? And there's respect there. If that's what you want to hurt somebody physically, man, come on, man. Again, you're just making them, you know, it's giving white supremacy. You're really buttressing white supremacy's intent to keep us divided. Y'all do that, you're perpetuating that. So please, number one, this rancor has to stop. It's okay having fun with each other, but this hatred, it's just learned behavior, man, of dominant culture. You know what I mean? And you gotta stop that. I'm not asking people to fall in love with each other, mind you. But I am not gonna get so upset at somebody that I'm gonna want to go visit them and try to put some bodily harm on them, man. If I'm that mad, let's get in the ring, man. Or y'all who out there right now, you all that don't like each other right now, get in the ring, man. I know a couple of y'all have already challenged the other guy. And the other guy didn't even acknowledge it. So it has been put out there. But I would tell the other guy, man, if you don't like this guy who don't like you, and been making videos about you, get in the ring and settle it, man. They'll be squashed in. You know what I mean? Unless you're scared. I mean, well, let me take that back. Maybe you're not, but you know what I mean? Because this thing can get really, really bad, man. I don't want to see anybody going to any funerals because of some spats that started on YouTube, man. So, you people, build your channels. If you're trying to monetize, go ahead. I don't know if I'm ever going to do that personally myself. I haven't. I've been on YouTube since 2007. I'm just getting started with the channel, so it's telling you that I ain't even, my concentration's really never been this particular channel. by the way, is a supplement to my political work I do. So this is not, it was never intended to be my primary profit that I live off of. So I never, or I monetized this a long time ago, because again, I've had this channel up since 2007, but I didn't initiate it until last year. It was just here so that I could do comments. I didn't have any content on it for the longest. Even when they started monetizing, they brought that into it. I'm like, nah, I'm good, And I saw the potential. So I saw what Sotomayor was doing and Phil was doing in the early going. I saw them. I was more at Phil's channel, the Advice Show at the time. And I saw Tommy. I didn't like what Tommy was doing at the time. I had no problem with him calling women out their names and all that, arguing with women and stuff, talking about women. Even though, it may be factually right, I didn't like how he said it. So I saw what they were doing. I saw how they were building the channel. I was like, okay, I knew Sotomayor was going to be big, and then Phil too, because actually I discovered Sotomayor first, and then not too long after, I can't remember what year that was, then I saw Phil. And there was other people at the time that had channels growing before they monetized, but they got off YouTube before the monetization started. You know what I'm saying? But I did see that in early going, but it was like, when you make a decent living, you like, okay, yeah, all right, it's cool. But hey, you never know. I might change it anyway. But I would endeavor to give you something that's valuable you can use. It couldn't be just my political opinions on things, my political position on the world, Africa, but it has to be some things that you can do practically. That if I were to monetize this and ask for donations and things of that nature, it had to be something more than just my political opinion. Although my political opinion, I believe, is educated one, very, very educated, objective one. But I would also want to give you some practical things. So if I was to do that, and I've never said I wanted to, but if I ever change my mind, you can rest assured that I'll be adding some things to this channel and maybe a second or third channel that people our brothers and sisters here could use in their lives if they so choose, and to enhance themselves. So it would have to be something like that if I were to ever monetize, and I may very well, but right at this point, I didn't want to when it started, and I still don't want to now. But who knows? That could change, and So we'll have to see at that point. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and take your time to listen to my voice. I guess I promised one YouTuber at some point I'll start showing my face on screen. I'll open the camera up. At least I'll do it once or twice. I don't know. So y'all can see. Some people probably know what I look like already, though. I've been on camera briefly at times. But not that anyone's asking, mind you, but I know I'm somewhat a mystery to some people. So I have to reveal that. Don't know if it's going to be next time around, but it'll be some. Believe it or not, I'm really an introverted guy personally. And so I'm not shy, I'm just a little introverted. So I don't, it's for that reason that I haven't shown myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with me, anything like that. It's just that I've always liked my privacy. But, again, I'm sure it'll be soon that I'll show myself. But that's neither here nor there. But again, let me just thank you for spending your time with me. And I hope that it won't be so long the next time I get on here and render my voice as You should render yours. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.